The rain-slicked alley in Brooklyn reeked of yesterday's garbage and broken dreams. But Patrick didn't notice anymore. He huddled under a tattered tarp, his fingers numb around a half-empty bottle of cheap whiskey, when the sleek black Bentley pulled up like a shark scenting blood. The door cracked open, and a voice cut through the downpour, smooth, commanding, laced with something dangerously close to pity. "Hey. Yeah. You with the eyes that could stop traffic. Get in before you drown out here." Patrick's head snapped up, rain dripping from his lashes, and for a split second, the world blurred into the face of the man stepping out, tall, broad-shouldered, in a cashmere coat that screamed old money, his salt and pepper hair slicked back against the storm. Alexander Harrington, Alex to the tabloids, the ruthless tech mogul who'd built Harrington Dynamics from a garage startup into a billion-dollar empire, crouched down, extending a hand gloved in Italian leather. "I'm not leaving without you," Alex said, his blue eyes locking on Patrick's with an intensity that felt like a lifeline or a noose. And just like that, in the gutter of a city that chewed up souls like bubblegum, Patrick took the hand, not knowing it would drag him into a love story scripted for heartbreak. New York City in November was a beast, gray skies spitting sleet like accusations, wind howling through the canyons of steel and glass. Patrick had been on the streets for 8 months, ever since the crash. Not the stock market kind, though that would have been poetic. His crash was personal, a velvet divorce from a life of privilege, courtesy of a family that decided blood was thicker than the ink on his trust fund papers. He'd walked away with nothing but a backpack and a grudge, crashing on couches until the couches ran out, then benches, then nothing. At 32, he was just another ghost in the machine of the American dream, invisible until someone like Alex Harrington decided to play savior. The Bentley hummed like a panther as it sliced through midtown traffic, the heater blasting warmth that made Patrick's skin prickle like it was waking up for the first time in years. He sat rigid in the leather seat, clutching his backpack like a shield, the whiskey bottle tucked inside clinking softly. Alex didn't fill the silence with small talk. Instead, he shrugged off his coat and draped it over Patrick's shoulders without a word. The fabric smelled like sandalwood and success, clean, expensive. The kind of scent that whispered, "I've never known hunger." "You got a name?" Alex finally asked, glancing over as he merged onto the FDR Drive, the East River glittering black under the bridge lights. "Patrick," he muttered, voice rough from disuse and the cold. "And you?" "The white knight routine. Does it come with a business card?" Alex chuckled, low and genuine, the sound rumbling through the car like thunder in the distance. "Alexander Harrington. Call me Alex. And no cards tonight. Tonight's about getting you dry and fed. There's a diner up in Harlem, best greasy spoon in the city. Burgers that could make you believe in God again." Patrick eyed him sidelong, searching for the catch. Men like Alex didn't pick up strays for charity. There was always an angle. A photo of a way to launder guilt into gold. But those eyes, storm blue and steady, held no pity, just a flicker of something raw. Like Alex was seeing a mirror of his own fractures. "Why me?" Patrick asked, the words slipping out before he could cage them. "Plenty of wet dogs out there tonight." Alex's grip tightened on the wheel, knuckles whitening. "Because you looked at me like you could see right through the bullshit. And in my line of work, that's rarer than an honest broker on Wall Street." The diner was a neon-lit relic squeezed between a bodega and a pawn shop, Formica counters scarred from decades of spilled coffee and shattered illusions. They slid into a booth by the window, steam fogging the glass as the waitress, a wiry woman named Dolores with a smoker's rasp, poured coffee without asking. Patrick wrapped his hands around the mug, the heat seeping into his bones. And for a moment, he let himself imagine this was normal, a hot meal, a stranger's company, the world not spinning on an axis of survival. Alex ordered for them, double cheeseburgers, fries crisp as autumn leaves, milkshakes thick with nostalgia. As they ate, the conversation unfolded like a hesitant dance. Alex talked about his empire, Harrington Dynamics, the AI firm revolutionizing everything from Wall Street trades to medical diagnostics. It's all algorithms and ambition, he said, dipping a fry in ketchup. But sometimes I wonder if I'm just building cages for dreams. Patrick nodded, chewing slowly, the burger juicy and forbidden after weeks of soup kitchen slop. He didn't spill his own story, not yet. Instead, he probed, "So, what's a king like you doing slumming it in Brooklyn alleys? Penthouse blues got you down?" Alex's smile faded, replaced by a shadow that aged him a decade. "Lost someone last year. My partner. Tim's. Car accident upstate. Drunk driver." He paused, stirring his shake absently. "He was the only one who called me on my crap. Now the apartment's too quiet. The boardroom's too loud. Saw you out there?" "I don't know." Felt like grabbing onto something real before it slipped away. The confession hung between them, heavy as the rain pattering the window. Patrick's chest tightened, empathy, sharp and unwelcome. He'd lost his own anchors, a father who chose legacy over love when Patrick came out at 18, a mother who followed suit with a polite email disowning him. "Real's overrated," he said softly, meeting Alex's gaze. "It bites harder than the fake stuff." They lingered until Dolores flipped the sign to closed, the clock ticking past midnight. Alex drove him to a boutique hotel in Chelsea, not some flea bag, but a place with Egyptian cotton sheets and views of the Hudson. "Crash here tonight," Alex said, handing over a keycard. "No strings. Let me know you're okay tomorrow." Patrick stood in the lobby, backpack slung over one shoulder, feeling like an imposter in a fairy tale. "This isn't pity?" he asked. "One last test." Alex stepped closer, close enough that Patrick could feel the heat radiating off him. "Smell that damn sandalwood. Pity's for suckers." This is me betting on a hunch." His hand brushed Patrick's arm, brief, electric, and then he was gone, vanishing into the night like a dream with an expiration date. Up in the room, Patrick stripped off his soaked clothes and stood under the shower's scalding spray until his skin pinked. The mirror fogged, but he wiped it clear, staring at the stranger reflected back, lean muscle honed by desperation, green eyes haunted by what-ifs. He thought of Alex's touch, that accidental spark, and wondered if it was the whiskey talking or something deeper, something that could thaw the ice around his heart. Morning brought sunlight slicing through blackout curtains, and a text from an unknown number, "Coffee downstairs? My treat." A Patrick dressed in the complimentary robe, soft as a whisper, and descended, heart pounding like a kid on his first date. Alex was at a corner table, two lattes steaming, the New York Times folded beside him. "You clean up nice," Alex said, eyes crinkling with that rogue charm. They talked for hours, the city waking around them. Patrick shared fragments, growing up in Boston's elite circles, a Yale degree in literature gathering dust, the family fallout that left him adrift. He skipped the gory details, the nights in shelters, the close calls with cops and creeps, but Alex listened like he was memorizing a map to buried treasure. By noon, they were walking the High Line, autumn leaves crunching underfoot, the Hudson breeze carrying hints of salt and freedom. Alex's hand grazed Patrick's again. Deliberate this time, and neither pulled away. "You're not like anyone I've met," Alex murmured, stopping by a rusted railing overlooking the water. "Fierce. Honest. Like you could take on the world and win." Patrick laughed. "Bittersweet. World's already won. I'm just the consolation prize." "No," Alex said, turning to face him fully, the wind tousling his hair. "You're the jackpot. And I'm cashing in." That night, over candlelit pasta at a hole-in-the-wall in the village, Alex leaned across the table, voice low. "Come stay with me." Not charity, companionship. The penthouse is a tomb without someone to rattle the ghosts. Patrick's fork paused midair, heart slamming against his ribs. It was madness, leaping from the streets to a billionaire's bed like some rom-com plot. But Alex's eyes held no traps. Just a quiet plea that mirrored his own loneliness. "Okay," Patrick whispered. "But if this blows up, it's on you." Alex's grin was triumphant. "Boyish. Deal." Welcome home. The penthouse atop 1-pen-1 was a glass and steel airy. 5,000 square feet of minimalist luxury, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the skyline. The kitchen that could feed armies. A library stacked with first editions. Patrick's room, apparently, was a guest suite with a king bed and a balcony overlooking Central Park. He unpacked his backpack onto the dresser, a dog-eared copy of The Great Gatsby. A silver watch stopped at the hour his world ended. And that whiskey bottle? Half full of regrets. Days blurred into a rhythm neither had expected. Mornings, coffee on the terrace, Alex in sweats scrolling emails while Patrick sketched in a notebook, poems, mostly fragments of the man he used to be. Afternoons, Alex dragged him to meetings, not as arm candy but as a sounding board, Patrick's outsider perspective slicing through corporate jargon like a hot knife. "You're wasted on the streets," Alex said one day. Post-pitch in a Soho boardroom. "Ever think about consulting? Literature degrees gold for storytelling, and every brand needs a narrative." Evenings were theirs, cooking disasters in the kitchen. Alex's marinara sauce was a war crime. Binge-watching Succession while curled on the couch. Alex's arm heavy across Patrick's shoulders. The touches escalated, a thumb tracing Patrick's jaw during a quiet moment. Lips brushing in the elevator after a gala. The first kiss happened on a whim. Mid-argument over whether Citizen Kane was overrated, Alex cupping Patrick's face. Pulling him in. The kiss fierce and forgiving. Tasting of red wine and revelation. "I could fall for you," Alex breathed against his mouth. Foreheads pressed together. "Don't," Patrick warned, even as his hands fisted in Alex's shirt. "I'm a mess." "So am I," Alex replied. "Let's be messy together." Sex came later. Tentative at first, bodies learning each other in the king bed. Patrick's scars mapped by Alex's lips. Alex's vulnerabilities confessed in the afterglow. It was tender. Then torrid, nights of sweat-slicked sheets. Whispers of "stay" and "mine," the city lights blurring into stars. Patrick felt alive. Seen, not as a project, but as a partner. For the first time in years, the mirror showed a man with fire in his eyes. Not ash. But shadows lingered. Patrick's phone, a burner he'd kept, buzzed with voicemails from old ghosts, his ex-lawyer, hinting at a wrongful disinheritance suit against his family's estate. "You've got a case?" Harrington's connected, he could bury them. Temptation gnawed. But love was a jealous god. And Patrick silenced it, choosing Alex's light over vengeance's dark. Winter deepened, snow blanketing the park like forgiveness. On a crisp December eve, after a holiday party where Alex introduced him as the man who's rewriting my rules, they stumbled home, tipsy on eggnog and each other. In the foyer, Alex dropped to one knee. A velvet box materializing from his coat, a platinum band etched with their initials. Simple yet staggering. "Patrick O'Malley," Alex said, voice cracking like thin ice. "You dragged me out of my own hell. Marry me." Not for the headlines or the merger, for the mornings, the messes, the us. Say yes. And let's build something unbreakable. Tears stung Patrick's eyes. The ring catching the chandelier's glow like a promise. The streets seemed a lifetime away. This man, this life, was his anchor. "Yes," he choked out, pulling Alex up into a kiss that tasted like forever. "Good?" "Yes." The engagement announcement hit like a meteor. Harrington Air Hook's homeless heartthrob, Love in the Gutter to penthouse glory, splashed across page 6. Paparazzi swarming the lobby like locusts. Alex fielded it with his trademark cool, a press release touting Love's unscripted algorithm, but Patrick felt exposed. A specimen under glass. "They're calling me a gold digger," he joked over breakfast. Scrolling headlines on his new iPad, gift from Alex. Naturally. Alex slid into the booth beside him, stealing a bite of Patrick's bagel. "Let him." Jealousy's the sincerest flattery. Says, "You're digging for my soul, not my stock options." It was half true. Patrick had Googled himself in the hotel mirror that first morning. Nothing damning. Just a faded LinkedIn profile from his days as a junior editor at a Boston publishing house. Pre-follow. His family name, O'Malley, carried weight in New England circles. Old Irish money from shipping magnates turned real estate tycoons. But the disinheritance had scrubbed him clean. No one connected the dots between the threadbare poet in Alex's photos and the prodigal son who'd come out amid a boardroom coup, costing his father a key merger. Life accelerated into a whirlwind of wedding prep and power plays. Alex's world was a vortex, black tie fundraisers at the Met, where donors clapped Patrick on the back like he'd invented bootstraps, strategy sessions at Harrington Dynamics, where Patrick's input on user empathy for the new AI therapy app earned nods from skeptics. "You're a natural," Alex murmured during one late-night brainstorm, his foot hooked around Patrick's under the conference table. "Ever miss the ink-stained life?" "Every day," Patrick admitted, laptop glowing blue in the dim office. "But this feels like rewriting my own ending." Intimacy deepened with the commitment. Mornings tangled in sheets. Alex tracing the tattoo on Patrick's ribcage, a compass rose inked during a rebellious college summer, pointing nowhere now. "Where's north for you?" Alex asked once, lips against the ink. "Right here," Patrick replied, guiding Alex's hand lower, their bodies sinking in that unhurried rhythm that spoke louder than vows. Yet cracks spiderwebbed beneath the surface. Alex's ex-assistant, Victoria, sharp as a stiletto, with bobbed platinum hair and eyes like laser sights, hovered like a storm cloud. She'd been James's confidant, and her loyalty to the ghost made her wary of Patrick. "He's street smart?" "Sure," she hissed during a fitting for Patrick's custom Tom Ford tux, pins pricking like accusations. "But does he know what he's in for? This life chews up the soft ones." "I'm not soft," Patrick shot back, holding still as she adjusted the lapel. "Just human." Victoria's laugh was brittle. "Humanity's a luxury here, darling. Don't spend it all on fairy tales." Her words burrowed, especially when old demons resurfaced. One sleety afternoon, while Alex jetted to Silicon Valley for a pitch, Patrick's phone rang, the lawyer again, voice oily as fog. "O'Malley Sr.'s health is failing. Heart attack last month. He's open to reconciliation if you drop the suit. But imagine the leverage with Harrington in your corner. A united front could topple the old man's empire." Patrick paced the penthouse, skyline mocking him with its indifference. Vengeance had been his fuel on the streets, a fire to keep warm. But with Alex's ring heavy on his finger, it felt like poison. He deleted the voicemail, but the seed took root. Spring bloomed defiant, cherry blossoms rioting along the park paths. The wedding loomed, a low-key affair at Alex's Hamptons estate. 50 guests max. No cameras. But low-key for billionaires meant string quartets and caterers from Michelin stars. Patrick threw himself into details: wildflower centerpieces, vows handwritten on linen stationery. In stolen moments, he'd steal glances at Alex, shirtless in the garden, directing landscapers, his laugh booming over the surf, and marvel at the miracle. One weekend, they escaped to Alex's cabin in the Adirondacks, a log-hewn retreat far from Wi-Fi's grasp. They hiked trails slick with mud, made love by the fireplace, embers painting their skin gold. "Tell me your fears," Alex urged that night. Patrick's head pillowed on his chest, heartbeat steady as a metronome. "Fear I'll wake up and this is borrowed time," Patrick confessed, tracing Alex's collarbone scar from a childhood accident. "That I'm still that kid kicked out for loving men." Alex tilted his chin up, eyes fierce. "You're not borrowed. You're mine. And I'll burn the world before I let it touch you." It was a vow heavier than any ring. But fate, that cruel dramatist, had other scripts. The betrayal ignited on a muggy July evening, 2 months before the wedding. Alex was in Tokyo, sealing a deal with Japanese investors. "Think of it as our honeymoon deposit," he joked at JFK. Patrick, alone in the penthouse, answered a knock that shouldn't have been there. Victoria stood in the hall, disheveled in a trench coat, clutching a manila envelope like a grenade. "We need to talk," she said, pushing past without invitation. Her eyes were red-rimmed, mascara-streaked, not her usual armor. "What the hell?" Patrick followed her to the living room, where she dumped the envelope on the coffee table. Photos spilled out, grainy shots of Patrick in Boston, pre-streets, shaking hands with his father at a gala, emails printed from a hacked server, plotting the disinheritance, and worst, a blurry shot of Patrick meeting the lawyer in a diner weeks ago. Heads bent close. "How did you?" Patrick started, stomach plummeting. "Doesn't matter," Victoria snapped, pacing like a caged fox. "What matters is you're playing him. Using Alex to get back at Daddy Dearest. I love James, saw what grief does, But this is calculated. I dug because I had to protect him. Patrick's blood roared. It's not, I ended it. The suit's dead. Lies, she spat. But her voice wavered. I confronted your lawyer. He sang like a canary for a retainer. You're the O'Malley heir. The one who could tank Harrington's East Coast expansion if your family's real estate plays dirty. Alex thinks he's saving a poet. You're a Trojan horse. The room spun. Patrick sank onto the couch. Photos mocking him. He met the lawyer once to say no. But the seed of what if had lingered, a whisper in quiet moments. Had he stayed for love? Or for the leverage it lent? I love him, he whispered. More to himself. That's real. Victoria scoffed. But tears betrayed her. Love's a con in this town. Tell him. I will. Before he finds out from the post. She left in a whirlwind. Door slamming like judgment. Patrick gathered the photos, hands shaking, and burned them in the fireplace, flames devouring evidence. But not the guilt. He called Alex. Voicemail after voicemail, miss you. Come home safe. We need to talk. But doubt festered. A cancer in the honeymoon glow. Alex returned jet-lagged but beaming. Arms full of souvenirs, a silk kimono for Patrick, jade cufflinks engraved with cranes. Missed you like air, he growled, backing Patrick against the door. Kisses hungry and homecoming sweet. Patrick melted into it, body yielding even as his mind screamed confess. They tumbled to the bedroom. Clothes shed in a trail. Alex's hands reverent on his skin. Marry me tomorrow, Alex murmured post-climax, nuzzling his neck. Screw the fuss. Just you? The judge. Temptation ward, run. Or risk it all. Soon, Patrick promised. Holding tight. But sleep evaded him. Alex's snores a lullaby to his turmoil. The high unraveled at the engagement dinner. An intimate affair at Le Bernardin. Oysters pearled like tears. Champagne fizzing with false joy. Guests included Alex's inner circle, Victoria, notably absent, and Patrick's sole invitee, a old Yale buddy who'd stuck by him post-coming out. Laughter flowed. Toast clinked. But Patrick's smile was a mask cracking at the seams. Then, the axe fell. Midway through dessert, chocolate soufflé sinking like his heart, a server delivered a note to Alex, folded crisp as a subpoena. His face drained of color as he read, eyes flicking to Patrick with a betrayal sharper than any blade. Care to explain this? Alex slid the paper across the linen, voice lethally calm. It was a printout, Victoria's work. No doubt, of the lawyer's email chain. Time-stamped after Patrick's no. Headlines screamed from attached links. O'Malley Scion's secret revenge plot? Harrington in the crosshairs. The table hushed. Forks suspended. Patrick's buddy cleared his throat awkwardly, but the damage bloomed scarlet. Alex. It's not, Patrick started. But Alex was on his feet. Chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. Not what? Not you scheming behind my back? Using our life as a weapon? Alex's voice rose, drawing stares from adjacent tables. I gave you everything, trusted you with my scars, my future. And this? This is how you repay it. Guests murmured, phones discreetly angling for the drama. Patrick stood, heart hammering. I ended it before we met. The meeting was closure. Not conspiracy. I swear. Lies from a pro, Alex snarled, tossing the napkin down. Get out. We're done. The words landed like a gut punch. Patrick grabbed his jacket, legs leaden, and fled into the night, Manhattan's pulse mocking his fracture. Rain slicked the streets again, history looping cruelly. He hailed a cab to the only place left, a shelter in the Bronx. Backpack retrieved from the coat check like a relic. Curling on a cot amid snores and despair, Patrick wept for the man he'd become, the love he torched. But dawn brought resolve, one last fight. He texted Alex, "Meet me at the High Line." Truth or nothing. The High Line at midday was an artery of urban escape, joggers pounding pavement, tourists snapping selfies amid wild grasses, the sun gilding the rusting rails like false gold. Patrick waited by their spot, the railing where Alex had first called him a jackpot, hands shoved in jeans pockets, the engagement ring twisted off and pocketed like a guilty secret. He'd showered at the shelter, changed into thrift store threads, but the hollows under his eyes betrayed the night's vigil. Alex arrived punctual as a CEO's alarm, striding up in chinos and a button-down, jaw set like granite. No warmth in those blue eyes now, just Arctic appraisal. "This better be good," he said, stopping a arm's length away. Arms crossed. Victoria filled in the blanks. "Your family's been gunning for my contracts for years, underbidding, sabotage. And you? The perfect spy in the House of Harrington." Patrick's throat tightened, words barricaded by regret. "It started before you. My father. He cut me off when I came out. Said it was bad for the brand, O'Malley Imports. All those conservative clients. I sued to survive, not to destroy. But when we met, I chose you." Dropped the case the day after that first dinner. Alex's laugh was hollow, wind scattering it. "Chose me? Or chose the Axis? You think I haven't seen this movie, Gold Diggers with Pedigrees? Playing the long con. James warned me once, power attracts parasites. Guess he was right." The barb stung, twisting deeper because Patrick had feared the same. "James?" he echoed, stepping closer despite the wall. "You carry him like a shield. I get it, grief's a bastard. But don't hide behind him to punish me. I was homeless, Alex. Broken. You saw something worth saving. Was that all bullshit too?" Alex flinched, gaze dropping to the Hudson churning below. "I saw a fighter. A man who quoted Whitman over whiskey like it was scripture. Thought you were real." His voice cracked, fists clenching. "But this? Emails, it's a script. And I'm the fool who bought the ticket." Patrick pulled the ring from his pocket, holding it out, not an offering, but evidence. "Then take this back. But hear me, I loved you. Not the empire. Not the revenge. The guy who burns toast and cries at Brokeback Mountain reruns. The one who held me when nightmares clawed too deep." Alex stared at the band, glinting cruel in the light, then snatched it, pocketing it with a hiss. "Love's cheap in hindsight. You played me, Patrick. Used my bed, my heart, as stepping stones. Get out of my life before you take the rest." Turned to go, shoulders rigid, but Patrick lunged, grabbing his arm, desperation fueling the plea. "Wait, one truth, If I wanted your downfall, I'd have leaked the merger docs from your laptop. I had access, passwords, photos. But I deleted the suit. Walked away. For us. Alex wrenched free. Eyes blazing. For us? There is no us. Not anymore. He stormed off, weaving through sun-dappled crowds, leaving Patrick adrift in the wake. The fallout cascaded like dominoes. By evening, Patrick's few belongings were couriered to the shelter, neatly boxed, with a curt note, no hard feelings. Legal will handle the rest. Tabloids feasted, Billionaire's betrayal, fiancé's family feud exposed. Victoria texted an apology emoji, too little, too late. Patrick's buddy offered his couch. But pride was a stubborn beast. Patrick chose the streets again. Backpack heavier with ghosts. Nights blurred into survival mode, panhandling in Union Square, crashing in doorways. The ring's absence a phantom ache on his finger. But poetry sustained him, scribbled on napkins. Verses of loss and longing. In the empire of your arms, I was king of ruins. He buskied readings at Washington Square Park, drawing clusters of the heartbroken, his voice raw timbre weaving spells. Word spread, the jilted poet with the billionaire ex. Tips clinked into his guitar case. Alongside notes, you're better than his cage. One rainy dusk. A familiar silhouette approached, the lawyer, umbrella in hand, face slick with opportunism. Saw the headlines. Perfect timing, your father's dying. Pet. One signature, and you reclaim it all. Harrington's vulnerable now, we strike. You win. Patrick looked up from his spot under the arch. Rain mingling with tears. Win what? A throne built on lies? Tell him I said goodbye. The man slunk away. But the temptation lingered. A siren's call amid the city's roar. Despair peaked on a frost-bitten January night. Winds howling off the East River. Patrick huddled in a cardboard fort near the Brooklyn Bridge. Fever raging from exposure. Visions of Alex fever dreaming. That first hand extended. The proposals kneel. The kiss that promised eternity. Delirium whispered end it, the bridge's edge a siren's song. He staggered up, legs buckling. The river black as regret below. Alex, he rasped to the void. Forgive me. Strong arms caught him, not spectral, but real. Jesus. Patrick, no. Alex's voice. Hoarse with panic, hauling him back from the brink. He was there, coat flapping like wings, face gaunt from months of his own hell, hollow cheeks, eyes shadowed by insomnia. What are you? Patrick mumbled, collapsing against him, the world tilting. Saving your stupid ass, Alex growled, scooping him up bridal style, carrying him to the Bentley idling curbside. Drive? He barked at the chauffeur, bundling Patrick inside, wrapping him in that damn cashmere coat. The penthouse yard him, 4 fluids, antibiotics, a doctor on speed dial muttering about hypothermia. Alex paced the bedroom like a caged lion, refusing to leave even as nurses fluttered. When Patrick woke, groggy under starched sheets, Alex was slumped in the armchair, head in hands. You came, Patrick croaked, throat sandpaper. Alex looked up, wrecked, red-rimmed eyes, stubble silvering his jaw. Victoria confessed. The note? Her forgery, emails doctored, photos timed wrong. She thought she was protecting me from another loss. Fired her as. But the damage. He trailed off, rubbing his face. I believed her. Believed the worst. When I saw you on the bridge, but I thought I'd lost you for real. Patrick reached out, hand trembling. You did. We both did. Alex crossed the room in 2 strides, sinking onto the bed, clasping Patrick's hand like a lifeline. No. Not lost. Dude. I pushed you away because it hurt too much to risk again. James's death, it hollowed me. You filled it? Then the lie cracked the foundation. But I see now, you chose truth over empire. Every time. Tears spilled. Hot and healing. I chose you, Patrick whispered. Always. Alex leaned in. Forehead to forehead. Breath mingling. Then choose again. Marry me, for real this time. No press. No prep. Courthouse. Since. Whatever. Just us. Laughter bubbled through Patrick's sobs. Absurd. Cathartic. Just. But only if you promise no more white nights in alleys. Deal? Alex murmured, sealing it with a kiss soft as absolution, salt-tinged. Soul deep. Spring returned. Tentative as a truce. Unfurling green tendrils along the high line where it all reignited. The wedding was a quiet rebellion, faded Levi's and button-downs. Vows exchanged in a judge's chambers overlooking the harbor. Witnesses their buddy and a bemused clerk. No rings this time, tattoos instead. Compass roses inked matching on inner wrists. North pointing eternally to each other. To ruins rebuilt, Alex toasted later. Over street tacos from a truck in Red Hook. Skyline fireworks blooming for no reason but joy. Life recalibrated. Wiser for the fractures. Patrick dove into work, not as Alex's shadow, but co-founder of Lit AI. A Harrington offshoot blending literature with therapy algorithms. His poems powered the app's empathy engine, helping users unpack grief like he'd unpacked his own. You're the heart, Alex said at the launch party. A low-key bash in a Brooklyn warehouse. Arms slung possessive around Patrick's waist. I just crunched the numbers. Nights were sanctuary, cooking fails in the kitchen, Alex mastering Patrick's grandma's shepherd's pie. Slow dances in the living room to Coltrane vinyls. Bodies swaying to rhythms only they heard. Intimacy evolved, less urgent, more profound, lazy Sundays tracing scars. Stories shared in the dark about James's laugh. Patrick's father's rare kindnesses. He called once. Before the end, Patrick confessed one storm-lashed evening. Thunder rumbling like old gods. Apologized. Too late for mending. But enough for peace. Alex kissed his temple. Peace is the win. Challenges lingered, media vultures circling for scandal scraps. Boardroom whispers about the O'Malley risk quelled by Patrick's transparency. Victoria resurfaced via email. I was wrong. Happy for you both. Drinks? Forgiveness came easy. They met for coffee. Her edges softened by therapy. A bridge rebuilt on mutual scars. Summer swelled. Humid and hopeful. They honeymooned not in Maldives luxury, but a road trip Route 66 style, Mustang convertible top-down. Playlists of Springsteen and Cash. Motels with neon flickers. In the Grand Canyon's maw. Under star-washed skies. Alex proposed again, not on knee, but flat on backs. Hands linked. To every horizon, he said, slipping a new band on rose gold, etched with jackpot. Patrick's grin split the night. To detours worth the drive. Back in the city, autumn painted the park gold once more. Patrick's book launched Gutter Sonnets. Verses of streets and salvation, dedicated simply for a who found me. Readings packed houses, fans queuing for signatures, but home called loudest, the penthouse. Now theirs with Patrick's touches, bookshelves groaning. A corner studio for writing. One crisp November eve, a year to the day from that rainy alley, they walked the high line, hands entwined, compass tattoos glinting. Think we'd have found this without the mess? Patrick asked, leaning into Alex's side. Alex stopped, pulling him close, city hum fading to their pulse. Mess made us. You're my rewrite. Pet. The ending I didn't know I deserved. They kissed there, unhurried. The skyline bearing witness, two men, forged in betrayal's fire, choosing love's fragile grace. No empire stapel. No fortunes reclaimed, just hearts mended, human and whole. In America's relentless grind, they'd carved a quiet rebellion, proof that from gutters, billionaires could rise. And from boardrooms, poets could soar. Together, unbreakable.